Hello, YouTubers. Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to have a talk with you to explain to you. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and name this video something like 101 Ways Why Things Aren't Getting Any Better, because they're not. I want to explain to those of you that are still asleep that maybe just came across this video and are still here after 30 seconds of this ugly mug trying to talk to you or talk with you. I didn't pre-script this video. I didn't write anything down, no notes or anything. So if I pause now and then, bear with me because that's just me trying to get my thoughts together. But things are not going to get better, ladies and gentlemen. And really, it doesn't matter what country you live in. I'm going to speak about the United States of America because that's where I live. But things are not going to get any better. I just got back from taking Little Miss Alaska Prepper to school. And on my way back, I noticed that the price of gasoline went up another 20 cents overnight. Here in the local area here, it's $5.19 a gallon now. Now, I know that in some places of the country, it's a lot more than that, but that's the highest that I have ever seen and or paid for gasoline in my entire life. And I was like, oh my goodness, it went up again. You better be prepping now. You better be getting those things that you need now. Inflation is going to continue. It doesn't matter what the Federal Reserve does. It doesn't matter what the government does. God forbid if the government does price controls, because price controls will not only create a black market where prices will be a lot higher than what they are being sold for, but it will create scarcity. It will create scarcity because manufacturers will not be able to afford to produce the products at the price that the government tells them they have to sell them for. So understand this, that price controls will not work. They will create scarcity. And that is where I see that we are going. So things are not going to get any better. The price of propane is the highest that I've ever seen it in my life. The price of heating oil is the highest that I've ever seen it in my life. The price of wheat just went up. I think the price of wheat is at an all-time high now because I know that it just went up again. Remember I told you when the price of wheat was coming down a little bit, I said that's just a very, very small respite, a small period of time where it's going to come down a little bit. Then it's going to shoot up higher than what it was before. Excuse me. And this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. When we find out, not only as a country, but as a world, that we are not going to have the harvest that the USDA is hoping that we have this year, you will see everything continue to rise in price. It is just the fact of the times in which we live. So you need to prepare now. I am getting as much fiat as I can out of the system in order to buy real stuff. Why? Because everything is going to continue to go up in price. Get that through your heads, ladies and gentlemen. You are the one that is being sacrificed. You are the sacrificial lamb. We, the people, are the sacrificial lamb. You will not see someone in power. You will not see someone in political office that is hurting for anything, but you will. So you need to continue to prepare if you're preparing, and you need to start preparing if you're not preparing. I know I mentioned this on a video, but I couldn't believe how much propane was when I went to get propane. For those of you that maybe didn't watch that video, go ahead and watch it. But pretty much giving you the skinny on it, I called my propane company to fill up my tanks, $9 a gallon. $9 a gallon for delivered propane. So I decided to forego my delivery and then just go get my own in 100-pound tanks, $5.29 a gallon. Ladies and gentlemen, how are people going to be able to afford to heat their homes this coming winter? You need to look to this coming winter and what you're going to need and get that stuff now and stock up on it as best you can. Because like I said, we may see a small period in time where things get a little bit cheaper, but eventually they're just going to upshoot and be even higher than they were before. We live in a country where we have debt that can never be repaid. Our national debt will never, ever, ever be repaid. Why? Because it cannot be repaid. That is the way that the system was made, so that we will always be serfs to that interest payment on our national debt. So let me put it to you this way. What is debt? Debt is bondage. When you take out debt, you've got bondage. You're bonded to having to pay that back with interest to whoever you borrowed it from. So let's say right now in the United States, where we have a national debt of $30.5 trillion or so, let's say if the government went ahead and cut 100% of its spending. They just cut 100% of the spending. No more spending on wars, no more spending on defense, no more spending on Social Security, no more spending on social programs, no more spending on nothing. They just stopped spending 100%. We would still have to pay taxes to pay the interest on a national debt that can never, ever be repaid. Ever, ladies and gentlemen. It's impossible to repay the national debt. The only way that we can get out of the national debt that we have is to default on it. And if we default on it, many people will suffer, many people will perish, many people will starve, actually, because it will be a very big resource issue. We have a stock market, and we have all markets. Every market that you look at is manipulated. It's pretty much controlled by the powers at be. It's controlled by the Federal Reserve, by the government. The SEC is supposed to be there to regulate financial markets, and they don't. They pretty much act as a referee for the people that they want to win. They sway the pendulum to the side of the people that they want to win, and everyone else, oh well, you get what you get. We have the other countries around the world that are stopping exports on food. Doing what? It's a leading indicator that foods will become more expensive. We have India, who just announced that they're going to stop exporting wheat. We have, I forget the countries, but they're stopping to exporting the oil, cooking oil. We have other countries that are major producers of rice saying that we're going to have at least 10% less rice produced in the world this year than normally, which means that we're going to have more than 10% less rice production this year than we normally do, because it's never the number that they give us. Do you really think that things are getting better? Every single day when you go out there, you see something that costs more than what it did the day before, and you're still earning the same thing that you earned the day before. So do you really think that things are getting any better? We have a government that acknowledges that there is a shortage of food, that there is a shortage of food items, not only in the country, in our country, but in the world. And their acknowledgement that there is a shortage of certain food items, what do they decide to do? They decide to let these big corporations export that same food that we're having a shortage in. We have a government that decides to forsake its American mothers and American babies by allowing the supermarket shelves to be empty of baby formula and then taking that baby formula and shipping it down south. We have a country that last year had more than 120,000 deaths due to overdose of, I forget the name of that drug that comes mainly from China. Right? But we had more than 120,000 people in the United States die of an overdose from that drug. Sentinel, I believe it is. Where does that drug mainly come from? It mainly comes from the border, comes from the porous border that we have in the South. And what are we doing? We're doing absolutely nothing. We are doing absolutely nothing, ladies and gentlemen, to stop those drugs from coming in. We have a government that loves to spy on the American people. Why? Because it's for your safety. That's right. It's for your safety, ladies and gentlemen. But they let in terrorists from the South. They let that border stay wide open, and who knows who is coming in. I feel so terrible for the people that live in border states, or that live in counties, or that their property is right up against the border, because they must be living through hell right now, just trying to be safe. I remember reading an article somewhere where a lady and her husband, that they would not let their kids play outside in their yard because they were that scared. And if the kids were playing out there, that they had to be out there with them, and they had to be armed to make sure that their kids were going to be safe, because they've had so many intrusions upon their property. Do you think things are getting better, ladies and gentlemen? We have a country where there is more than 500,000 people, more than 500,000 people in this country are homeless, which means that they don't have an address, who may be living in their cars or may be living in an RV, but they can't say to someone, yes, this is my address, this is where I live. But we have $40 billion that is slated to go to another country, a country that's not even part of NATO. I don't understand that. Now, I don't agree with NATO, but this country is not even part of NATO, and we're sending them all of this money. Why? What is it going to be used for? It could definitely be used for ending homelessness in the United States. It could definitely be used for investing in our infrastructure. And when I say investing in our infrastructure, I don't mean giving billions of dollars to states so that they can have pet projects like building high-speed rail lines, right? Train lines that they never complete. All right. In California, for example, they spent all that money on that train, and I don't even think they ever completed it. And if they did, they only completed a portion. And the price for that was billions over what it was estimated that it was going to cost. But instead, they have a drought that they've been going through for years. I think almost a decade now, about 6-7 years. And instead of building desalination plants so that they can give some relief to their people, they just continue to put more and more restrictions on their water usage for their people there. Do you think that the government officials that are making those decisions on your behalf, do you think that they have a restriction on how much water they use? Absolutely not, ladies and gentlemen. They keep taxing us to death. Every time that you turn around, there's a new tax. And especially the tax that people mainly do not know about and are not educated about, which is the tax of inflation. They keep printing money out of thin air. Money that never existed until they printed it out of thin air. And then they take the value that they give to that money, they take that out of the money that you've already earned. So you go to work, you work an hour for $20, and then next month that $20 can only buy you what $19 could buy you when you earned it. What happened to that 5%? That 5% of the time that it took you to earn that $20 was literally stolen from you, which means that your labor was stolen. They print like there's no tomorrow. They think that we can print ourselves into wealth, and we cannot. You cannot exchange energy for something that did not come from energy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the biggest hoodwink that we've ever, experienced in humanity. We're a civilization, all right? We're a civilization. We're like the most technologically advanced civilization that we've known, at least in humankind, that we can keep track of. But we allow the government to keep us slaves to a system that was made in order to keep the poor poor and to keep the rich rich. Look at what's happening in Sri Lanka right now. In Sri Lanka, the citizens are revolting against their government. The citizens are attacking anyone that they presume to be wealthy, that they presume to be well off. They burned down so many houses of politicians and stuff in that country. And the country is just in mayhem right now. They are completely out of fuel. Do you think that was because of the people? No, it was because of the policies that government made. However, it is the people that have to bear the blunt of what's happening there right now. It is the people that always suffer. So do you think that things are going to get better? Do you think that politicians all of a sudden are going to do a 180 and say, yes, we are here for the people? The same politicians that make themselves completely wealthy once they become politicians. I know of one politician that they actually track her stock purchases because she actually makes better stock picks than the average, I think it's S&P 500. She's one of like 5 people in the entire world that beat the S&P 500 last year with her stock picks. Why do you think that is? That is what is called a transfer of wealth. She has taken the knowledge that she gains from being in public office and using that knowledge to her benefit before the people obtain that knowledge. And then that wealth that she is making from that knowledge, that wealth is being transferred right from the people that were already in the stock market or in the markets onto her and her family. Do you think that things are going to get better? Do you think that politicians are going to all of a sudden find religion? Ladies and gentlemen, we have a government that just, I don't know, 6 months to a year and a half ago, were telling us that it's your choice. If it's your body, it's your choice, until they decided that it's no longer your choice. It's no longer your choice, ladies and gentlemen. And now, again, it's your body, it's your choice. So when it came to what the government didn't want you to do, hey, it's your body, it's your choice. But when it came to what they wanted you to do, that you no longer heard those words. But now you hear it again. When are people going to wake up, ladies and gentlemen, that we are on our own? If you have the opportunity now to prepare, if you have the opportunity to get things that you know you're going to need, then get them now. Because what you're doing is you're protecting yourself. You're protecting your family against the inflation that is yet to come. If you think that the inflation that you've seen in the past several months is a lot, you just wait. You just wait. Because things are about to get a lot worse. And here's the part where I tell you, I'm not here to scare you. And I'm not. But I'm here to inform you that things are not going to get any better. I am an optimist by nature. Okay, by nature, I look at things and I try to look at all of the good things. But something that is more important than being an optimist is being a realist. Is being able to see what's going around. And although you can see all of the beautiful things that nature has to offer you, you can see all of the demonic things and all of the terrible things that people do in order to gain control and stay in control. So ladies and gentlemen, things are not going to get better. You better be preparing. There is a shortage of so many things. So many things. I just saw Southern Prepper One's video this morning, and he says there's a shortage of aluminum. There's going to be a shortage of aluminum. So get your aluminum foil now. All right. We have that shortage of potatoes that is looming. All right. A massive potato shortage that is looming. And what are they doing with our potatoes? They're allowing corporations and companies, the middleman, they're allowing them to send them across the border. The government's not here for you, ladies and gentlemen. You need to prep up the best that you can. I can go on and on and on. I mean, look at property. My property taxes since I moved to this location has gone up by about 30% since I moved here. And that's only 5 years. Do you think things are going to get better? What can you do about it? Prepare. That's it. Prepare for yourselves and your families. If you think your vote counts, then go vote. Now let's talk about the stock market really quick. The stock market looks like it's going up a little bit right now. Go ahead and catch that falling knife. Because ladies and gentlemen, whether the stock market goes up or whether the stock market goes down, the purchasing power of your dollar is what really matters, and that is going to continue to decline. So if you want to get stuck in paper one day when the banks close, go ahead and keep all the paper you want. Me personally, I'd rather not do that. Let me go ahead and cover a little bit of cryptos real quick. So just so that you all can know out there. So I've been hearing some chatter that Coinbase may be claiming bankruptcy. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute here. Now, most of the cryptos that I had in the past, I cashed them out, made a very nice profit, enough to buy my wife a motorcycle and prep some more. But I digress on that one. So I heard that they were going to be claiming bankruptcy, that there's a good possibility of them going through bankruptcy. So I was like, whoa, I do still have some cryptos in there. I didn't cash out every one of them. So you know what I did? I went ahead and I took my cryptos out of Coinbase and I put them in my own personal wallet here at my house. All right, there is a way that you can do that. Just look it up on YouTube. How do you put your crypto in a hardware wallet or in a desktop wallet? You can do it in a desktop wallet. If you have a PC, you can do it on an app on your phone if you want to. All right, look it up on YouTube and learn how to do it if you want to do that. I decided to take it all out. Why? Because now those cryptos are in my possession. Nobody can take those private keys from me. I own them. Right? But same with cryptos, the banks. Eventually, the banks, they will take whatever money you have in there. Eventually, they will. Either through direct confiscation, i.e. a bail-in, or through inflation. If you leave it there long enough, it'll be worthless eventually. So what am I doing? I am really trying to get as much stuff as I can prepped up and put away. especially long-term items that will last me a long time. Long-term food storage. I know that freeze-dried food storage is a little more pricey, and some people can't afford that. But if you can, I would recommend that you go out there and get what you can now, because things are about to get worse. This winter coming up, man, I see this winter, ladies and gentlemen, being very, very difficult for a lot of people, even those that are prepared. So prep up the best that you can. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to be here with you along the way. And I know that we can make it through this because it's a crisis, and crises don't last forever. But you have to be prepared for it in order so that on the other side of that crisis, you can thrive instead of just survive. We don't want to just survive, ladies and gentlemen. We want to be able to thrive. That way, when we get to the other side, we have strong patriots that love their country, that can pick up that baton and help their fellow human beings. Having said that, God bless every one of you. Thank you very much for being here, and God bless you all. Have a great day.